decisions of historic magnitude and proportions. You have to analyze all facets and all facts. The truth of the matter is there was no other choice. It was just, as we say in football, the 90th minute, because the Iranian nuclear program was rushing underneath, by the way, under disguise, was rushing to the bomb, meaning the bomb is created of two things, enriched uranium and the armament part of it, which makes the bomb. They were proceeding dramatically on both venues. And the armament part was done clandestinely, totally clandestinely. The enrichment part was known and was criticized heavily by the report of the Secretary General of the International Atomic Agency in Vienna a few weeks ago, and in the vote of the Board of Governors of the IAEA in Vienna on Thursday.
And I want to quote what they said in a moment, but your intelligence says that Iran was rushing to a bomb. The Directorate of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, speaking just a few months ago, 2 months ago, before the Senate Intelligence Committee, said that the US intelligence community continues to assess that Iran is not building a nuclear weapon, and that the Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei has not authorized the nuclear weapons program that he suspended in 2003. Why is your intelligence different to that of the United States?
That was 2 months ago. Following that, a delegation of the very high officials from Israel, who are the closest to the prime ministers, came to the White House and presented all the data to the president's team, the national security team of the President of the United States of America, and I think from then on, it's different.
So the United States, though, is calling for restraint. I mean, when you listen to President Trump, he's not saying, go in, bomb Iran. When you have presented them with this information, why are they erring on the side of caution?
I was not part of the discussions in the room. I'm a head of state. I'm not the head of the executive branch, the prime minister and the cabinet. But I'm exposed to the information, the intelligence, and I must say it's unanimous in Israel by all experts concerned. And moreover, we don't argue with the United States of America. It's our closest ally, and we're utterly grateful and respectful of the President of the United States and his team. But they have their decision-making process and their considerations, and we have ours. Israeli government throughout history, throughout the history of the State of Israel, have always been very crystal clear with regards to a nuclear capability of our enemies. It has to be removed at once. We've attacked in Iraq in 1981, we've attacked in Syria in 2007, and now it happened that we had to attack in Iran before it's too late.
At what risk, though? Because US President Donald Trump's Special Middle East Envoy, Steve Witkoff, has told Senate Republicans that if Israel attacks Iran's nuclear facilities, and this was just days before this war began, the Iranian Republic's response could lead to a mass casualty event. Are you willing to accept that there will be a mass casualty event?
We are very much aware of the risks of this war, and we want to make clear. We saw it. You're here. Every few hours or every night there are missile attacks, heavy missile attacks on Israel. We have our air defense systems, which are excellent. Unfortunately, we have casualties, brothers and sisters of ours, from toddlers all the way up to the age of 94.
And that you're willing to
Holocaust
accept
survivors, people of all facets, veteran Israelis and new immigrants, Muslims and Jews. No, we don't accept it at all. We're absolutely and adamantly, we don't accept it at all. That's why we're fighting also to eliminate their capability of firing at us, and that is what we're trying to do.
But
parallel to the fact that we have to remove the Iranian nuclear program because we see the negotiating process as being futile because they're lying whilst talking to us, talking to the United States. Let's say they're lying whilst talking to the United States and other allies.
I just want to ask you about some news that's come out in the last 24 hours. President Trump has said that, or reports have come out, that President Trump told Israel not to kill Iran's supreme leader. Is Iran's supreme leader fair game?
So first, I would say that I do not want to comment about Iran's supreme leader. That is being discussed in the closed rooms of the War Cabinet and, of course, in dialogue with the United States of America. Let's just remember that the supreme leader of Iran has for years called for the annihilation of Israel, has for years called for the annihilation of my nation state, of the Jewish people, of the Israelis. He's been calling and instructing to move forward with that all the time. They spread havoc and terror all over the world. You ask yourself, why do the Iranians have terror cells all over the world? Why did they carry out so many atrocities in the last decades? And why have they launched again and again wars through their proxies? After all, October 7th is a decision of their proxy Hamas, Hezbollah attacking us from the north, and the Houthis from Yemen. And that's about time that the world understand it. We are fighting here for the entire free world. We are defending Europe. We are defending Europe because the last thing Europe wants is an evil empire of evil with a jihadist ideology holding nuclear weapons.
But they don't want to see another conflict embroiled here in the Middle East.
We agree, but let's talk about de-escalation. You want to de-escalate? I tell all the leaders of the G7 now, who are convening in Canada, you want to de-escalate like we want to de-escalate? You want to de-escalate? Get the nukes out of Iran's hand. That's all there is to it. It's all very simple. Escalation means rushing to the bomb. Escalation means attacking us with missiles from all over. That's escalation. The cost of living of every family in the world has gone up because a tribe of Houthis in Yemen of 50,000 people are holding cruise missiles and ballistic missiles given to them by Iran. Well, this cannot go on anymore.
I'm just going to quote you the International Atomic Energy Agency. They said that inspectors in Iran who frequently visited the Republic's two main enrichment facilities at Natanz and Fordow, they said that they found no evidence to suggest the Islamic regime is developing a weapons program.
But you know what?
Again, that's
it's
the IAEA.
It's unbelievable because the IAEA himself has complained and made clear that its inspectors were blocked and removed, that many sites could not be seen.
After this conflict began?
Yes, there are, no, I mean, not after this war started. In the last few years and in the last few months, we know it. There are other hidden sites that everybody knows they're holding their enrichment or quantities out there. Let's not hide anywhere. Everything is clear. The IAEA took a very strong position in its vote over the weekend because it is clear to everybody that Iran is lying and hiding and not cooperating according to its obligations.
Mr. President, I just want to ask you about the death toll. We've seen over a dozen people here in Israel killed, and we've talked about it's tragic.
Very tragic and very painful.
And we've seen several hundred people killed in Iran. If Israel is, and as the Prime Minister has called for regime change in Iran, we're seeing some of the people who, the names of the people in Iran who have been killed, activists, artists, Pilates teachers. Is this the message that Israel wants to send to the Iranian people?
Or I know only about the leadership of the National Revolutionary Guards, their intelligence and their Air Force and all those who instigate terror. God forbid, we are adamantly not aiming at civilians, as opposed to the Iranians who are aiming at civilians all the time. And again, I want to make it clear, we did not seek this war. We did not want this war. This war was imposed on us from October 7th until now. Let's not be mistaken. And I want to tell all our viewers, if you want to change the reality in the Middle East, with Israel and many, many Arab nations moving forward to rapprochement, including with the Palestinians, the only way is to block the Iranian influence. Because the Iranian influence has worked relentlessly to undermine any peace process, relentlessly to undermine any rapprochement between Israel and the Arab world, relentlessly, and they threaten leaders, and they radicalize, and they go to revolutions, and they use other proxies as their basis against Israel and against the United States and Western forces because they want to seek dominance in the Middle East.
Mr. President, thank you so much.
Thank you very much.